There's some business categories and businesses which are probably going to have quite a bit of trouble competing in the paid Google ads. So if you search for something, I'll use this example: pest control Newcastle, and you can see at the top of the page you've got all these yellow ad box here, and you've got these ads on the side, and they're the paid Google ads. So if you're trying to get your website listed in here or in here, then you have to pay each time someone clicks on one of those ads. You're paying Google, or the business that's advertising is paying Google for that link between the search and their website, and it can get quite expensive. And what we've seen probably in the last, it's probably in the last couple of years especially, pretty much what's happened is there's been some pretty big reseller companies for Google ads. Even Yellow Pages have been reselling Google ads, I guess. And so what's happened is people have moved entire marketing budgets from traditional sources like the Yellow Pages or print advertising and dumped it into Google advertising. And the effect that has is that it's really pushed up the cost of these ads. We start spending money on ads, we can come into here into the Google keyword tool and make some estimates about what it's going to cost to be on the Google advertising system. So if I put in pest control Newcastle pest control, pest inspections Newcastle, and I'll put it to the phrase matching, and we'll have a look at the keywords. So you can see, don't worry about global searches, we're looking at local monthly searches, which is in Australia, 480 for pest control Newcastle. Approximate CPC, so that's cost per click, $9.10. Now that's a fairly high amount of money, and you can see Newcastle pest control, only 73 searches, almost $7.55, and these are just estimates. It's not an exact figure. So the as Google says, the cost per click is calculated by taking an average of the keywords cost per click across all ad positions in the Google search network. And it's only an average. It doesn't mean that it's going to be what you pay every time, but it is a guide as a sort of starting point. Well, the thing with that is, if you're selling services for the keyword pest control Newcastle, let's say that you are charging people on average, I don't know, let's say it's $400. Okay, so if the cost to provide that $400 service is, let's say it's $200, and you've got a $200 margin on that product. Now if you divide, let's say $10 per click, to keep things easy, $10 into $200, that's 20 units. And so if you have 19 people who come to your website at $10 each, and one of them buys, then you've made a profit. If you have 20, that's break even, and in 21, then you're losing money basically. Depends on what your profitability is, and also it can depend on the lifetime value of a customer as well. So if you know that someone who comes to you for pest control is probably going to need you twice in a year, or that every second person that comes to you refers you to someone else, then you might add in that profit into your original acquisition cost. But it is quite expensive. So I mean, if your budget is $10 a day, so that's $300 a month. If you're paying $10 per click, that means you're only going to get one click per day. Now you can bid less, but what happens if you bid less? You end up down here on the bottom somewhere, and so you'll get less clicks, but you won't get as many. So look, it is potentially possible that you could still make money out of a $300 budget with that high cost per click, but it's much harder. And if you look at keywords like, so Sydney Pest Control, $12, Pest Control Gold Coast, $15. I mean, these are quite high. Commercial Pest Control Sydney, $15. Like, these are quite high costs per click that you would have to absorb into your business profitability. So if you're going to do some Google AdWords, you need to be a little bit aware of what the cost is going to be, and that can be aware talking to someone that is experienced with AdWords, or maybe even a qualified AdWords consultant is going to help ensure you don't sort of waste your money, because, well, if you've got $300 in a month to spend, if that's your budget, there's other ways you could spend that money. You could print business cards and give those out, and go to breakfast meetings and spend the $300 on breakfast and business cards. You could print out flyers and hand out 3,000, 10,000 flyers in the neighborhood, or you could get over a month or two, you could get some sign writing on a vehicle. So lots of different ways of spending your budget, obviously, but you need to work out what's going to be feasible, and you have to realize that just because 20 people go to your website doesn't mean that 20 people are going to become customers. So it might mean that one becomes a customer, or none. It might take 50 people who visit your website. You know, if you've got customers who are doing like comparison shopping, so if they're going, oh, do I like this bed and breakfast, or do I like this one or this one? If they've got a lot of people who they're comparing against, then it can be harder to convert that person into a sale. So you can just jump into like the AdWords system, go to adwords.google.com and create a campaign and do all that. If you do need a hand, we'd like some help with it, you can give us a call, or drop me an email, or seek out someone that is qualified to, or at least has some good experience with Google AdWords and is doing well with it, because you may just be wasting your money if you just throw money at it. I mean, 5-6 years ago, there wasn't many people, anywhere near number of businesses using it, and this cost might have been $1 or $2, and you could probably just, any campaign would work. I mean, being a bit facetious, but if you got into AdWords 6 years ago, and there's only a few businesses competing in your niche or your topic area, it's very much easier to make money, because it just got cost per visit would be so low, and so you would have less wasted money. So, but it's not like that anymore.